Good morning, everyone. How you all doing? And welcome back to Waffles and Whiskey. Today is the Tuesday, the 9th of August. 15 degrees out there. Sunny as usual. We're looking for a top of 21 degrees. Double it and add 30 if you're from the US. Petrol, $1.58.7. We have been looking at the petrol prices over the time. Remember, yesterday was $1.55.9. It's gone back up. I don't know why it was a different colour, but that is the order of the day. Hey, I've got so many things to do. I'm not going to tell a gag in the morning. Normally I do the gags, but I've got a really exciting guest here that I want to introduce you to. But before we do, we must, of course, hail the great man. Yes. Cheers, Sir Rudy. Cheers. Lemon in the water. Maybe it's a whiskey day. Who knows? We never know. Oh, Rudy, the great man. And from one Gerald to another Gerald.
All hail Rudy.
All hail the great Rudy. I've been so excited about this interview that I've got, and I want to introduce to you, and I don't want to waste any time because I think it's really important that we introduce to you today's guest. Please, I was going to say put your hands together. It's not a conference, for God's sake. Put your hands together for Leanne Hughes. Hello, Leanne.
Hello, Gerald. They can absolutely put their hands together.
Can they?
Yeah. I mean, actually, I'm really keen to hear the gag.
Oh, did you want to hit the gag? Normally I do a gag. I think when Dennis was here, I did some retirement gag. I think when I had the inspector of police here, I did a police gag. But I can't do a gag about you. The only thing I wanted to ask, though, before we get stuck into this, because I'm excited about this, is that I know that there's a Dave Hughes, right? There is Howard Hughes. And there's a Merv Hughes. Any relation to any of those?
No, unfortunately. But I do think with the way Merv Hughes drinks, maybe I emulate some of that in the way that I like to live as well. I wish I had some of his cricketing ability. But yeah. And Hughesy, the comedian as well. I'd love to grab 5% of his brain.
Yes, the comic side of it, not the manic side of it, not the ADHD side. Maybe you have a bit of ADHD.
Probably do.
What's really interesting about this whole thing, and I thought, what I'll do is that I'll see if I can get Leanne on, get her on, and then I saw that you post something on LinkedIn, and it had something like, the big question of the day is, what was your question that you wrote on there?
Yeah, I mean, will I be getting whiskey and waffles as part of today?
The waffling is
that's why
us.
I'm here. Okay, right.
The waffle is us, but there is, what I should probably do, there is a whiskey here. It is Tuesday morning, and there is a yes button, and there is a no button, and there is a yes button. What I might do is let me change screens. And Leanne, how's your netball skills?
Really good.
Really good?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I mean, I used to play at an international level, so yeah.
Pretty good. International level. Wait a minute, that's the yes button, right? International skills.
Whoa,
broke everything.
Broke his gear.
We didn't talk about obstacles. So the question here, Leanne, Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock.
Oh, look, Merv Hughes would say...
Y-E-S, yes.
Well, I love this. You're in trouble. From one degenerate to another degenerate. I think I might just bring up the split screen here so we can have a good look.
So we're actually doing this. I thought this was like a joke and you were going to cut to another piece of us.
Too late now. You can't lie on this channel here. This is my glass.
This is so funny.
So I'm just going to have a little one.
Yeah.
And this is your one. And you can just have a little sniff. Are you a whiskey drinker?
I mean, I prefer rum.
Rum.
I find people are either in the rum camp or the whiskey camp. But because we're on this isn't the rum show.
No, this is not the rum and whiskey show, the rum and waffle show. Here we go. There's yours. And we have to. Well,
cheers to it. Cheers to Rudy.
Cheers to Rudy.
Yeah.
Just fix your mic up a little bit and push your mic up because I think we knocked it over when I threw that at you. No, that's good there.
Perfect.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
How's that for a Tuesday morning?
Gone to coffee straight to the whiskey. This is unbelievable. Right.
Coffee to whiskey.
I had no idea Gerald would follow that up. But
Well, no. Well, hey, if you've got your buttons now, so you're now in charge. If anything goes wrong throughout the whole day, you can just go through the hour. You can now press yes or no. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's funny. So I'm typically a yes person, and at the beginning of the year, I actually had to create a list of things that I was going to say no to. I have a not to do list now because I say yes all the time. I mean, just that whiskey example is a prime example.
Yeah, you can't say yes all the time because that's what's going to happen. Because I might just go, let's fill her up again. What do you think?
No.
No. You're driving, aren't you?
That's it.
Yeah, imagine that. Hello, officer. Where were you? Were you at G-Mann's place? Yeah, I was doing, you had the whiskey. We'll let you go. What I'm really interested about, because I think, looking at your bio and everything, I put up as the headline that you are a business coach, a mentor, and a podcaster. So you do your own podcasting, and I saw that you do something on Tuesdays. It's called 2x2, 2 by Tuesday.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, similar to you, Gerald, like I like to do a lot of different things, and I have a lot of ideas every day. And while I think it's an absolute superpower, it can really kind of bug me because there's no real focus in my direction sometimes. So 2 by Tuesday was a way of putting like some constraints on the content that I was pushing out. So it's every 2 weeks I send out a newsletter called 2 by Tuesday. And what I do is I explore a question through the power of a 2 by 2 matrix, like a 2 by 2 grid. So the other week it was like, are you a thought breeder or are you a thought bleeder?
Yes.
How are you thinking about the ideas that you're getting? Are you actually taking action on them, or are you just letting them bleed?
Whoa, slow down. So let's go through them, because I saw bleeder, breeder. Let me get it. So see if I actually read some of your stuff.
It's the whiskey that's affecting your capacity.
Yeah. So if you're a thought bleeder, a thought leader, a thought breeder, or a thought reader.
Well done.
They're the 4.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the quadrants. Let's go through each one so I can get a good understanding.
Yeah.
So let's start with the bleeder.
Well, I mean, it's helpful if I sort of talk about the X and the Y axis, because I think I consume a lot of content. And if you're, you've got people out there that are watching this as well. And I love consuming. I get new ideas from it. The only problem is, what am I actually doing with it? So what am I creating as a result of doing that? So I mapped consumption against creation. So the thought bleeder is someone that listens to, that may not listen or may not be doing anything. So that's like the bottom left of that quadrant, where maybe hearing some things, but it's just being bled out. Like nothing is changing in their lives. And look, I've been there. I've been across all 4 quadrants. The ultimate, I think, people talk about thought leadership, but I think being a thought breeder is the ultimate on the top right, because that's where you're collecting ideas, you're synthesizing them and using that to create more content, and getting feedback on that, iterating your ideas further. You're breeding content, breeding thoughts out. And I think that's where sort of innovation and creativity really land.
And so let's go to thought reader. I think I'm a thought reader.
Yeah.
What's that?
Thought reader is you consume a lot, but you're not actually using that to do anything with it. So you're getting ideas, you're synthesizing it, but you're not really putting it out there. And I'd argue, actually, Gerald, I don't think you belong in that category, because you are showing up every day on YouTube. I'm sure that you're listening, hearing things, and then doing something with them and inspiring your audience as well.
Okay. I'm not too sure if I inspire them, because we have a section or a segment in here, which I might show you today if you like, and it's about inspirational pictures. You know how you get those inspirational pictures around? Why are you laughing?
Oh, they're corny.
They're corny. And so what I've done now, that's very good. I'm so glad you're on my page here. So what I've done now is I've decided to turn it around and just call them unmotivational. So we're going to have the demotivation posters, and we'll have a look at that. But what got you into this whole business in the first place? Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I think it probably has a lot of influence to just the way that I like to live, and just maybe just untapping potential. I see it everywhere, and also I get kind of frustrated with the way things are set up. So an example would be like when I was a 6-year-old, I went to a birthday party. And I remember going to this party, I was dropped off, and nothing actually happened. We were just sort of sitting around there, and like the parents were having a barbecue, and it was just this sort of non-event. As a 6-year-old, I got picked up, and I was so frustrated that it wasn't being optimized. And I know that sounds ridiculous as a 6-year-old. I mean, I probably wasn't using the word optimized then. But I feel like there's such a short time on this earth, like every opportunity that we have to add to an experience and make it great, particularly when groups of people come together, I think is a real opportunity. And I think it's often missed in the context of meetings, experiences, work environment as well.
And that's interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of people don't actually know what they want out of their life, do they? Or do they? Do you think people know what they want in their whole...
It's a hard question to answer, and even if you were to ask me that right now, I could give you some vague responses, but it might, knowing me, it'll probably shift if you were to ask me again in an hour, or maybe after another whiskey, it would shift. Yeah, it is. It's, we're still busy.
Yes.
But that's the interesting contrast is we don't know actually what we want, but we're still really busy. So the question then is, well, are you busy doing the things that are in alignment to potentially where you'd like to go?
Okay. So one of the things I think a lot of my subscribers. I call them deplorables and degenerates.
Love it. Gosh, what an
Yeah, what an
to
audience.
high five everyone that's watching. They're my people.
Give them the virtual high
Yes.
five. They get really, really upset that they go to all this trouble to be first to comment. And so if I don't bring up if they're first to comment, then they'll go in a little corner and they need a little safe space, and then they sook a little bit. So I have to bring up what the first word of the day is. And let's just have a quick look. Damn thing, here we go. Click. Oh, come on, people. You're going to have to tell me, because I just saw a message from Brian that said you were first. Hang on, Brian. I think I got it. There it is.
Hey, Brian.
There we go. So word of the day here is caca. I'll leave that to you. What does that spell?
I'm stumped by that sort of third syllable here. Cacaraphobia.
Cacaraphobia. All right, so phobia is a fear of something.
Yes.
They're fear of cacaraphias?
Yeah, they're evil, aren't they? Those
They're evil.
I mean,
Okay. I bumped into a cacaraphia the other day, and I'm not too sure why I have. Brian, I have no idea. So, Brian, what you're going to have to do is a little bit later, we're going to bring up what that word means. I think the degenerates here that want to try to stump me every day. And so they're finding, I don't know, Gaelic dictionaries now.
yeah, I don't know what the origin of this is. I mean, if it was a C, I'd be like a fear of chocolate, and then I'd be, well, what the hell is this word even about?
No.
But the K really throws me off.
The K.
Yeah.
Maybe it's crack. All right.
Fear of
So
Russia.
my guess is cacaraphobia is fear of motivational posters. You're going to have to come up with something.
I think it's a fear of being on live streams.
A fear of being asked whether you want to drink whiskey.
Yeah.
If I'm going to make
Yeah.
a whiskey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it the cacaraphobia.
Oh my gosh.
It's too
That's
easy.
awesome. Yeah.
For people to get involved, I think they're on the stream now and they're having a look at what we're talking about, which is a lot of silliness at this moment. But we do want to talk about mentoring. I think that's good. Podcasting, I think we'll talk a little bit more about that. And I think the business side of things. Now, how long have you been your own business entrepreneur?
Yeah, I was really surprised actually because I feel like I'm still in my first year, but I checked in the other day on LinkedIn and it was 3 years and 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gone extremely quickly. I quit my job the year before COVID hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 years, 7 months. And in that time, I just need to, I think there's, hang on people, stay with me. It's pushing buttons again. Don't touch any buttons. They're all screaming at me now going, don't touch any buttons. 3 years and 7 months. So what was the reason? What was the catalyst?
To be completely honest,
Yeah.
it was frustration around being in a business and having really great ideas, but nothing actually happening as a result. So I was getting really fed up of the bureaucracy within companies and like confused with why some decisions were being made that weren't actually, I didn't think that made sense.
Yeah.
And that's been maybe a typical case over various roles that I've held. I've always I don't like to think I'm a rebel. I think I'm a disruptor and I will constantly challenge things. And I was in an environment where I kind of got a lot of experience. I loved it. I traveled all around the world. So I was running leadership programs in Canada, across Indonesia, all around Australia. And when I got to Mongolia, that was my bucket list. It's like, if I can run leadership in Mongolia, then I'm out. And so I got that. I went to Mongolia in October of 2018 and I quit my job in December of 2018.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just made the decision and thought, I've got to do something with my life better.
I kind of set myself up. This links to the podcast part. I was building an audience for about 12 months when I was working internally. So I was getting a bit of momentum. I was creating content. I felt comfortable that I wasn't sort of jumping off a cliff, that I'd sort of reduced my risk. At the same time, I was saving up money so I could, if I had no clients for 6 months, I'd be okay. But yeah, it was a case of I was getting kind of frustrated and every day I was getting more and more frustrated, whereas like, I'm not positive around here and, you've got to be excited about your day.
Totally. I think some people, they go through the motions of the day. Have you heard about this thing called quiet quitting?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's like quietly like slinking off, still getting paid, but you're not really doing anything. Is that what it's about?
So quiet quitting, from my understanding, is you get your job description and your job description says you've got to count the widgets all day. You then have to write a report and then you start at 9 o'clock, you finish at 5 o'clock. And the quiet quitting is come 5 o'clock, they just leave. They don't make a big deal out of it. Bye, everyone, I'm going. They just quit. And so the whole phenomenon now is that the younger generation are going, I'm not going to work like my mum and dad, doing extra hours, 40 and 50 and 60 hours, a week. I'm just going to be doing my 40 hours or my 38 and a half hours, and that's it. I've got a comment on here. This is great. Ian McPherson says this: I hate the time wasted in meetings. Group meetings are designed so that no one can be held responsible for the lack of decisions or progress.
I agree. It's the biggest joke, Ian. And that's why I did my podcast First Time Facilitator, because you go to more meetings and at the end of a meeting, all that's really decided is when should the next meeting be held. There's no actual decisions.
Yeah.
And we're using meetings as a way to run a business. But when are people actually getting work done? What
are they doing?
I don't know. It's like literally calendar Tetris where there's all these meetings are happening, but where's the action taking place?
Yeah, let's have a meeting about when we can hold the next meeting.
Yeah.
It is a waste of time.
Yeah, and I actually heard an interesting stat that most of the decisions in a meeting are actually decided within the last 7 minutes. So that impending time frame and closure means that something will actually happen. So then I always challenge leaders that I work with, stop defaulting to these hour-long meetings. What about a 23-minute meeting?
That's good.
And it really hooks curiosity, right? So if you said a 23 meeting kicking off at 7 past the hour, first of all, people will be on time because it's a specific time. It's not just 9 o'clock. It's 9:07.
Yes.
Right. And then it ends. You've got to definitely, if you're running any type of meeting, make sure you either end it on time or before. Give people the gift of time back.
Like this podcast. We start at 9 o'clock every single day. If I'm not on at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time every single day, what is it? No, I'm not on. If I'm not on, I'm not on. And so are you thinking people, and I've got to maybe challenge you on this one here, because I think you've got your left brain people and your right brain people.
Yeah.
Do you think all the accountants and engineers and the statisticians, they'll turn up on time, but all the creatives like you and I, you're a creative, aren't you?
I'm a creative, but I feel like I should have been either German or Japanese because I'm always punctual. I've never missed a flight. I'm never late.
Oh, neither have I. No, because there's a fear there. Because if I miss a flight, and like you, if we miss a flight and we're going to be facilitating somewhere, that's it. That's the day. We're done. So I'm not in the Qantas lounge, but I'll be sitting there just like an hour and a half beforehand, twiddling the thumbs, waiting for the flight.
Yeah.
And then it'll be, General Porschman, can you please come to the counter? I always get the caller.
Really?
Because I'm late. Well, I'm busy in my own busyness that I forget that I'm actually catching the plane.
So interesting.
I know, I'm weird.
Yeah, I mean, I love getting to places early, and so I don't know if it's a creative thing. I think this is where maybe I'm wrong about things, but I did a TikTok video, Gerald, and it's blown up over 170,000 views on it. I think it's blown up because it's created a bit of conflict between how people think about it. So it's just a video of me on a Zoom call, and I'm waiting for someone to arrive to the call, and it's 5 minutes and they haven't arrived yet, and I'm getting a bit irritated in the call. And so people are there, oh wow, you should wait for longer than 5 minutes. Other people saying, no, you should totally call it. So we've all got, and I'm it's very split what people think about it. I think it comes down to respect. Maybe also when I was younger, I would have waited for that person to arrive because I was really about people pleasing. That's something I've really had to work on as a business owner, is actually trying not to be a people pleaser. So that, we talk about time, but I think under that is just this context of a lot of values and beliefs and self-worth as well.
What do you value the most then? So you must value timeliness, punctuality, respect. Anything else that you?
I think, it goes back to what I said about just when I was a 6-year-old, is just valuing the time that we have together. And my business coach, Alan Weiss, he says true wealth is discretionary time.
I like that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of those motivational posters around your wall at home?
When I was a kid, I did.
Oh, right. Okay, this is my ADD kicking in. So who was your role model back when you were like 6, 7, 8?
Oh, well, I used to play netball. All the Australian netball team were on my walls. But I did read when I was around 11, Sean Covey. So he's the son of Stephen Covey.
Yes.
I read his 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. I wouldn't say he's a role model, but that book really got me into the love of personal development. But as I grew older, I was like, these motivational posters, they just make me groan, like images of Everest. And it's like, that's not my life.
Yeah.
I'm not connecting to it.
Yeah, I said something the other day about, I brought up a demotivational poster, which is every person that has died on Everest had that as their motivation. It's not a good motivation to have. And I think also, it's not good. But I think also everyone wants to climb Mount Everest, but nobody wants to descend. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
So the goal should be, I want to descend from Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Because that at least is the...
That means you've lived. That means you've survived.
But
Yeah.
because it's good. Oh, did you ever climb Mount Everest? Well, he's dead now.
Yeah,
So
he climbed
did
it,
but he climbed it, but he never made it back.
Yeah.
But goal achieved.
Well, it's like
Goal
putting a man
achieved.
on the moon. It's like, that's not the goal. It's like to get them back safely.
Man on the moon. Did we?
All right.
No, we can open up a whole... We've only had a little sip of the whiskey here, and it could go ape. I can't say that. Tell me, there are people watching this, and they're probably eager to maybe start their own business. So over the last, I would say, 18 months, 2 years, there's been a real disruption in the world with the pandemic, with COVID-19, with people being locked down, people being stood off, and people being, I think, laid off and also losing their livelihood. And they're now wanting to start probably their own business. Do you have any advice? And this is a two-part question. Do you have any advice about starting your own business? Because mine would be just do it. It would be as simple as that. But the advice that you would give, and also if somebody has started their business, what is their obstacle? What's stopping them from doing the things that they really want to achieve?
Yeah, well, I think before I even give advice, I just want to give out a disclaimer that I'm sharing an opinion with you.
Yeah, good.
And
yeah.
I think this probably links into probably the advice that if I was starting again, is I'd listen to business gurus, thought leaders, and I thought I'd have to do everything that they said and follow it to the letter, down to the letter. And what I've realized now is that actually I've got a choice. There actually are no rules about business or anything like that. And it really depends on what stage your viewers are at. If they're thinking about a business, I'm with you. I think just do it. But what I'd also contextualize that with is if you've got an idea, just start socializing it. I think the biggest problem that we have right now is people have ideas, but this is back to the thought reader. It's like they've got these ideas for business. They're getting excited, but they're not actually sharing it with people. And the important part about a business, what differentiates it more than a hobby is it commercial? Like, is there actually a market for this?
Yeah.
And I think to do that, you just got to start testing things out. And there's many ways you can do that. Low risk tests, like, if you're becoming a service provider like I am, can you just run a webinar on a topic you think might be appealing, you think you might want to be the expert on, and see if actually anyone will subscribe or read your articles. Because that's how I test out where I'm going to go. Is I put out content first, see if there's demand, if there's bites. If there's no bites, it's like, that's cool, no ego attached to that. I'm going to move on to the next thing. It's
interesting you say that. If I had been asked that question and somebody would say, okay, go back to Gerald of Young, say 28 years ago when you started your business, knowing what you now know, would you do it again? My answer would be no. And think about why I would say this. Not in the respect that it gives you great freedoms and gives you great opportunities, but no one had put this in place. No one said that, oh, look, in 28 years, you're actually going to be a podcaster. You're going to be sitting here talking to Leanne about some business. But think about all the hours that you put in, the hours such as the reading you have to do, the study that you have to do, the travel that you have to do, the phone calls, the emails, the knocking on doors, the knockbacks, the things that people will say, oh, now you have to read this and now you have to implement that.
Yeah.
If you put all that together, hand that to a person and say, here's the manual to get to where I am today. And then, by the way, you're going to lose your job and you're going to be doing podcasts. It's like, oh, let's turn to the last page. I'm going to be doing podcasts. I don't want to do that. So I think, do you think that no matter how many different avenues or advice, and I'm glad this is an opinion-based thing, no matter how many different advices you get, there really isn't a roadmap to succeeding or to becoming successful.
Exactly. Yes. And one of my favorite quotes is the poet David White, and he says, that which you can plan is too small for you to live.
Whoa. That which you can plan
is too small for you to live.
Okay.
Yeah. So the context for me, I love it. And I do believe in things like serendipity in your business and a lot of the stuff, like I try and build a business around something that's enjoyable for me, that drives a passion. Everything that you said though, and like what's happened in the last 28 years, it's not a means to an end.
Correct.
I think in that you become a better communicator. I mean, look at you now and like your expertise in hosting this.
Oh my God.
And you actually are a really interesting person because you've accumulated all these cool experiences through travel and through the clients you've worked with. So it's made you who you are. It's not been a finite thing.
Yeah, sure.
But like when I kicked off my business in 2019, I was like, right, I had an Excel spreadsheet and I created this plan. And I was like, right, everyone does this. I get fooled with the website and like, what am I calling myself? That is a complete waste of time. Okay, so what happened though? I mean, this is why I love the David White quote. The reason I left the company I was kind of scared was I thought I'd never travel internationally for work again. Yet my first gig was working in Singapore, Hong Kong, India. I read a book called Pivot by Jenny Blake, who used to work at Google. Became friends with her in New York. She flew me to Paris to run workshops together. You cannot plan that. And I think while often particularly if you're risk averse, you might think, I need a plan to avoid risk. But I think a plan can sometimes, maybe if you run the plan, can limit you from what opportunities are available.
It's interesting. It's what's that old saying is that you don't fail to plan. No, you don't plan to fail, but you fail to plan. You must agree so much with that kind of like mantra. You got to have something in place.
I don't know if the planning is as important as the original question of who do you want to be, where do you want to go. I think that is, if you know what that is, the planning are the tactics to get you there. But we've just talked about the tactics could change. They could be different. You can meet someone that will change your life. You could be on a podcast interview and your guest then wants to work with you. Like you just don't know. You've got to position yourself in a way, but to do that, you just need to know what is the true north here. All right, let's try a few tactics. I do believe in consistency in terms of like getting into state every morning and things like that. That's in terms of my daily plan, that would be it. But in terms of my business plan, it's all about, where do I want to be? And then, all right, what can I give a go?
It's interesting about this podcast here. This gets me up. Like this gets me up in the morning. This makes me say it's not so much that I have a purpose, but it gives me the discipline to say, right, first thing in the morning, I'll go for a walk. I'll make sure I come back, have a healthy breakfast, sometimes whiskey, and then I'll jump into doing a podcast right on time. And that gives me the discipline to be able to do that. One of the things we also do on this podcast is we take calls. Are you up for taking any calls that somebody might have? But to do that, I guess you should ask them a question that they might respond to. This might help us out here. Let's just have a quick look at this comment here. Let me just bring that one up. Sorry, mate. Hang on. Oh, jeez. Where is it? Holly Perrin. G'day, Holly. How are you? Welcome to being a new member also. I saw that you signed up last night. Thank you. At Ian McPherson, I just started my adventure of self-employment. I really hope that my idea is a good one, but I won't lie, I'm nervous about it. What do you think she might be nervous about? And Holly, if you want to call up and ask Leanne maybe a question, I'll put the numbers up on the screen that you can have a look. But what do you think about that comment there?
I think Holly has every right to be nervous because it's uncertainty. I mean, when you join a job, you know for certain that you're getting paid at a certain time and interval and what you're sort of in for. But the beauty of it is limitless, but that's also a bit of a curse because I don't know what's ahead. So I think that's completely normal. Holly, what I'd love you to do is actually to share your idea into chat and just get used to putting it out there and sharing it with other people. You never know who could latch onto it. Because
I don't believe there's anything wrong with failing. If you have a look at like Michael Jordan, for example, and you being a netballer, an Australian netballer, how many times did you fail before you actually made the team? Not so much fail.
Well, I mean, I remember when I missed out on my first state team when I was under 17s, I thought I'd be in the team and I was gutted and I just couldn't shake it off. I couldn't shake off that feeling of being a failure and I've put all this time in. What was interesting though, the week before nationals is that unfortunately one of the shooters in the team injured herself and then I was called up at the last minute to play, ended up being in the starting 7. So that was nice. But it really, failure, if you're not taking risks, you're not failing. You need to fail in order to grow. And I know it's super cliche. It's probably something you'd see on a motivational poster linked with Everest, but there's absolute truth in that.
I love the old analogy of, when you're a 4-year-old, you're trying to ride a bike, you've got your training wheels on, or dad or mum's holding the back of the bike and they're running with you and they let it go. What happens? Well, once you take the training wheels off, all right, you go, okay, boy, girl, you're going to ride a bike. You hold the back of the bike, you run with them and you go, I got to let it go. Chances are they fall over.
Yeah.
But I think mum and dad also encourage them. Come on, you can do better than that. Let's give it another go. And I think when you have a look at the people who are in the Tour de France now, they've taken it to the extreme. But one day they fell. They fell over. I probably had lots of accidents. Wow, did you see that one in the Commonwealth Games where they ended up in the stadium?
I didn't see it, no.
It's horrific.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hurt a little girl. I think she's okay.
Oh,
but
gosh.
but you have to, I think you have to not so much fail, but take those risks to be able to say, right, now I know what my limitations are, that I can go to the next stage. Are you aware of the, the levels of learning?
Yes.
The unconscious incompetence?
Yes.
Yeah, so you
Yes.
understand all
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I want to ask, so maybe do you have a question that you want somebody? I've got the numbers on the screen there if you're from, around the Houston area, Australia, United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada. There's the number. Call that number, put in the meeting ID, and of course the passcode is the devil's number. Give us a call. We will answer your call and we can have a chat. I'm fascinated by people who are like yourself, who've been in a career for so long, then have got to a stage where you're doing your 2 by Tuesdays. And I noticed there was one video that you put up, I think, where you are describing the quadrant. What feedback do you get from that? Do people go, oh, wow, this actually makes a lot of sense?
Yeah.
It does?
Actually, that's the reason why I chose the 2 by 2. It's like, I just can't believe, but this is a really big step for me. Like I said, I don't like to be constrained or limited at all, but I've had to force the constraint so I can enable the creativity, which sounds counterintuitive.
Not really.
But it really forces me to think. So you said before, 9 o'clock every morning I have to show up. And having that discipline, it's like, so right, every Tuesday I need to think of like, what is this quadrant going to look like? People do reach out and they say, oh, wow, I really identify with this person, or like you're talking directly to me. And often that time is because like I'm actually talking about myself and what's going on underneath the surface. I'm explaining that in the video and other people resonate with that. So it's a really fun way to capture like ideas and put them into something that's quite logical that people can pinpoint and then go, what do I need to grow to get into the quadrant that I want to get into?
Do you think that there is a massive difference between leaders and leadership?
Wow. So the noun versus the verb.
A leader, anyone
Leader
can become a
versus
leader.
Role versus.
Anyone can become a leader. But what do you think about providing leadership? Is that different for you?
That's such a good question. Leaders and leadership. I think you're right. Anyone can be a leader. Leadership, anyone can demonstrate leadership as well. So I think,
Correct.
I don't know if there's a massive difference. I think one is more active and one is more related to the role of a person or how they kind of identify, or you can say this person is a leader.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when, sorry, I'm just going to remove one person from here. He's
Sure.
just being a bit of a troll. He comes on every day and he wants to be known that he's on here, but it's just one person. But if you do have that question that you got that burning question that you want to ask, Leanne, jump on and ask that question, because I think it's not about providing advice. It's about maybe some guidelines.
Yes.
Maybe some, hey, this is what I did. Can you give me an example of, say, a massive, I don't like using the word failure, but a massive mistake that you made?
Yeah.
Oh, you have got one?
I've got lots.
Oh, give me one.
I've got so many.
I've got many.
Which one? I think probably, this is more, I'll go a tactical maybe and then a strategy. So tactical, I think for anyone that's leaving a business or plans to, one thing I didn't do that was smart enough was actually just re-engage with people before I left. There's a really great quote, Jordan Harbinger uses a lot in his podcast, dig the well before you get thirsty. So the ultimate thing about business is just relationships and start investing in them now. And I didn't really do that. That was a mistake.
That was a massive mistake.
Yeah, because then you try to catch up with people and they're like, well, what does Leanne want? And it just feels icky. So I don't like that.
Are you ready to take a call?
Let's do it.
Put your headphones on, and I just want to double check to make sure that we've got the right person there. Holly, is that you?
Is indeed.
Okay, wait one second.
Hello.
Wait one second till I just put you on live, so that we can talk to you. Now I think.
Thank you.
There we go. I think you should be on live now. So hello, Holly.
Hello, Leanne. Hello, G-Mann.
Hello.
Cheers, Sir Rudy.
Cheers,
And
Sir
hello to the
Rudy.
chat.
Oh, hang on. Now that you said cheers, Sir Rudy. No, a whiskey, a little whiskey. You've made Leanne drink a little bit of whiskey. Hang on.
I think she's got a yes button on that.
She has got a yes button. What would you like to ask?
Well, I wanted to ask a question because my idea seems like such a brilliant one to me that I think that why didn't somebody else already do this?
What's the question? Well, what's the idea?
Oh, sorry. I put the idea in the chat.
Oh, sorry, didn't see it. Yeah.
an alternative platform to something like Etsy and Craigslist that is uniquely for Salty Army and patriots around the globe, that we can support each other buying coffee, buying books, whatever it is. So just an exchange, buy and sell platform.
Yeah, so, okay, let me see if I've got this right. So you're thinking of something like bigger than Amazon, bigger than Etsy, and bigger than Craigslist, I think even eBay, but it's a buy-sell swap for patriots. Is that right? Have I got that right?
That's right.
So why do you think that's an obstacle, or why do you think that's a challenge? Because I've got the expert here. She can be able to she can be able to help.
I don't have a lot of skill in terms of building a site, so I'm doing it step by step, and that's okay. I'm kind of autodidactic, so I can learn it. But after that, my next steps, like getting other people interested in the project. I have good contacts in the Salty Army, but I thought that initial step where you go from a platform that has nobody on it to convince people to come onto it.
Yeah.
That's a little tricky for me.
I think Leanne is wanting to jump in.
Like 100 ideas. This is my problem. Holly, it's so great to hear from you. Thank you so much for dialing in.
Thank you, Leanne.
I'll tell you what I love about your idea. This is probably a weird analogy, but Web 3.0, I don't know if you've heard about NFTs and blockchain and everything like that, but it's all built on the back of a community. And so I believe the most successful companies, service providers, right now into the future will be those that actually build a community of like-minded people. And so what you've identified already is something that a lot of people can't identify, and that is who your audience is. So right now, I would actually start more of the audience growth before even thinking about tackling the platform yet. So if you're in the community now, like jump into Facebook groups, start connecting, having conversations, seeing if people would like it. Through that, this is why I talk about like thought breeding. You'll get more ideas on how to get people involved. And the most exciting part is as you do that, when you do end up launching your tech platform, you say, hey, you were part of the initial group that I spoke to, the first 50 people, jump on in, here it is. And then it will just start to grow that way. So just a good book, actually, I can recommend a good book on this, Superfans by Pat Flynn.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's all about community growth.
Somebody just wrote a message here. I won't put it up, but somebody just wrote a message that says, Leanne, I love this. Dig a well before you get thirsty.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you, Holly?
Great. It sure does.
Isn't it the whole build it and they will come kind of philosophy with the was it the baseball arena?
Field of Dreams.
I do disagree a bit with that.
Okay.
I think a lot of people put effort into being the best at what they do, but then no one actually finds out about you if you aren't telling people. And so I know so many brilliant service providers, consultants, facilitators, speakers that just don't get business because I reckon they are the best, but they're not actively building that community and talking to people. So
I want to bring up this other quote here. Just 1 second from Michelle Gaga. It says, and this is directed at you, Holly. It says, at Holly Perrin, the biggest step is building the platform as that there are so many financial holes you could fall down with this. For one, it doesn't mean the idea isn't valid, but financially you will need a lot. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, she's right, because I looked into website building. They can be very expensive. One of the reasons why I was a little bit reticent to speak about this is that a lot of people have these skills. Yeah. And I was concerned that if I reveal the idea, they could just take it and run away with it. You see?
But what's wrong with that? Like, if you have a look at the set of skills that Leanne and I have, they're similar sort of skills, or the skill set. Leanne's podcasting, I'm podcasting. Leanne's in the leadership field, I'm in the degenerate field. We have very similar ideas. But isn't competition great? And I know what you're saying is that somebody might grab that, but you're already there. And I'll put this comment up here because I think this is good. Wiley E. Coyote says that Holly Perrin, it has potential, but think of where the revenue stream will come from. There are a lot of buy and sell platforms, so think of a way to stand out. Do you have, and I guess it's one of those, what do they call it, Leanne? It's a unique...
USP.
A USP, a unique
selling proposition. And this is why community is so important. Because I think, Holly, if you start talking about it, I just want to address Holly's point around I'm scared of sharing it because people will steal my idea, because I totally get that as well. Holly, I had a podcast where every episode I just shared the best of what I was doing. And at first I was really scared of people emulating that. What I discovered though is that never happened. And if people did, they didn't do it in the same way that I did, but I'd built up a community around it. And I think there's a good point here around getting your idea validated. So you might find as you talk to people in your community, they're like, oh no, we don't need a platform, but Holly, can you please do this? Can you run this event? And you might find that you get ideas that complement it, or I don't know, there's uncover that potential.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it does sound like you've got a few obstacles there, Holly, and I think one of them is, do you have an obstacle of not believing in yourself? I mean, it sounds like you're a very confident person, but does it kind of like come across as, oh, I don't know, I'm scared to start it, or if I do start it, then somebody will do it better? I mean, what's the obstacle that you're thinking?
There's this little, it's like the between dusk and dawn. It's the question of, if I get started a little bit, some people will say, well, that's a crap platform because I'm building it myself and they obviously know how to make cool features.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think that in that little area, that's where I could open up the door to maybe some people who do want to get on board with me, and we share in the project together to make it the best, because I have no problem like working with other people and we all succeed together.
Ideally, I mean, you could use even like a platform like this. I mean, Leanne's sitting here with me, and I know you can't come on the couch here because you're in some faraway planet. So it's difficult, but it would be something similar where, you know, we could zoom it in and we could have like-minded people. And hang on, I've just had a thought. Leanne, you've got the 2 by Tuesday. Could she be a member of that? Is that something that she could just sign up? Does it cost anything? No,
it's free. It's just a free newsletter. So I often, because I love, I guess my strength is when I hear an idea thinking like how could it actually work. And so Holly, I think probably what you're asking as well, like I sense that you're concerned around the tech part of it. I have to say, yes. And so when a lot of people that want to start podcasts, they talk to me and everyone's so worried about the tech. And I just tell them the tech is the easiest part. The hardest part is the audience growth, building the community. Yeah. That is why I suggest you start there. The tech will solve itself, but it can be It can be distracting.
You really correctly identified that. That is my biggest concern, actually.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be, because you'll build a beautiful platform and you might release it, and no one will come to it. And so this is why I talk about going on a listening tour, because often I have ideas and I talk to people and they're like, I was like, would you pay for this? And people are like, no, not really. This exists. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. That saved me time. Now what else can I do?
That's great. I like the listening tour. Yeah, I've got a thought about this idea, but so many ideas. But there's this great quote that I had. Sorry, Holly, I know I'm jumping in here, but there's this great quote that I heard was something like, everything around the world you started off as a thought in someone's mind. Everything. Look around where you are right now. Every little screw, every piece of technology, every website started off as a thought in someone's mind, and then it's that next step. You know, it's the journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first one. And I think you're there, and I think what Leanne was saying is that no matter what people do to bring you down, that's their goal. Their goal is to bring you down because they can't do it, or they replicate what you do, which is the greatest form of flattery. You know, I'll copy what she's doing, but you've already got that behind you. So for somebody to jump in and then say, well, I'm going to do that, you're already in the forefront. I think your ideas are there. I'd be really interested to see, and maybe even if you could, you know, share some of those ideas and share it with Leanne on her podcast. And then I think you will have that community of like-minded people that will get interested in it.
Oh, that's great. So Leanne, your podcast is 2 by Tuesday. Is that right?
I've got a few different things I do. I have a podcast called Leanne Hughes Work and Live Large. Everything is on leannehughes.com.
Yeah, jump on that. leannehughes.com. You can see her name on the bottom there. I'll put it up again. Yeah, jump onto that. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, and shoot us an email. Let us know how you progress. Super exciting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Holly.
I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have a good
Thanks, Holly.
conversation.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
That was cool. I think where Holly is also is, if I can get my head straight, I think Holly is in Europe, and so it's around midnight there.
Great. Oh, what a legend.
I know. So she's turning up and she's showing up to at least get involved in this little group that we have here, and so people will get interested about some of the things. And I think what I will do is I will put. I think I've got all Leanne's information in the description below, or it is just simply leannehughes.com. That's
yeah,
it.
and even on Google, I'm like, that's my YouTube handle, Instagram handle, Twitter handle is Leanne Hughes.
So what's your future? Where are you heading? What's your big...
Yeah, so for the first 3 years of my business, I've really marketed myself as a facilitator, someone that runs group workshops, but now I really want to position myself. And I've been resisting this word. Again, maybe it's all about fear. Like, am I good enough? Adequacy, all that. I really want to be the expert in responsiveness. So responsive companies, responsive cultures, responsive leaders. Because I think with all the change that's happening, the super skill is how are you actually anticipating that, how are you adjusting your plans, back to our conversation around planning, to enable growth. Yeah.
Is there something that a person can maybe, because the comments are just running hot here and I can't keep up, my ADD's kicking in. I saw a bird outside and I was kind of like interested in that little fluffy thing that was flying. But is there something you can, even for myself, let's just say, for example, you're sitting here with me, we haven't got the mics on, we haven't got the, the podcast going, but you're sitting here with me and you're going, Gerald, I think this is what you could do to move yourself up to the next level. I hate that saying, move to the next level. But what is maybe an idea that you can plant in some people's minds that gets them started?
Yeah, I'm actually on the same path as you, trying to think about what is the next level. So the first question obviously would be to you, well, where do you want to be? Like, who do you want to? And so a lot of people ask, I can give some prompts for even people listening in and yourself, Gerald, to think about. It's where do I want to be? And write it unfiltered. Now, this is the hard thing.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Write it unfiltered.
Unfiltered, just raw.
Yes, because we negotiate against ourselves. Like, I might say, my bold dream might be, I want to be a best-selling author, and then I might mitigate it by, an Amazon best-selling author versus I want to be a New York Times best-selling author.
Yeah.
Now, to even do that, you've got to be brave enough to just write it in a notepad. Yet I find, even as I think that boldly, I'm automatically negotiating against myself and go, that's not possible. And so we've got to, the first thing I'd say is actually get out of where you are. So get out of your space, go out. Hopefully you got some beautiful blue skies like we have in Brisbane today. Get outside of where you usually are. Get out somewhere else. Go for a walk. Take a pen and piece of paper and just write down what would the ideal life look like for you.
Wow.
The ideal start to your day. And don't filter it.
Right.
Because if you can't even write it down for yourself, how will it ever happen? And this is not woo-woo or anything like that, but it's just challenging your own mindset of what is possible.
I love that. Yeah, sitting down unfiltered, because far too many times we just cross that out and we go, that's not what I wanted to say.
I could never do that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you've got to even think about things like this, you've got to be able to confidently, you've got to convince yourself. That's where it starts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think we're ready for some unmotivational posters.
I think so. Let's bring it down. Let's get demotivated.
Let's get demotivated. Let's read some of these ones. Everybody sucks at something. Do you agree?
That's great. Yeah. That's why we have teams.
I think it's good.
I love it.
I'm not good at some things.
Oh my gosh.
Like, seriously, I mean, have you seen this place here? Like, what have I got around here?
Well, this place is friggin' awesome, by the way.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So,
do you like you haven't been in the old chair. The old chair was kind of like more plush. This one here, you're up a little higher. You're on a little platform. Comfortable?
Oh, I feel like I've got all the power here. It's like I could run the world from this armchair.
And by the way, look, I love the jackets that you have. They're all very vibrant. Is that part of your personality? Because I just wear black, which is dark. Like, it's dark, but I think it's part of the brand, isn't it? It's part of the label. Yeah,
it's absolutely part of my brand. I remember Serena Williams saying about when she plays tennis, she dresses like she's number one in the world. And so I thought, right, well, if I want to create vibrancy in other people. So I do it by starting with myself.
Number one in the world. Wouldn't you just dress to what is comfortable to make you win?
Have you seen her outfits? They don't look very comfortable to me.
Right.
She would wear she would just disrupt the way what people were wearing on the tennis court. And her and her sister were disruptors in the game.
They were, yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you wear, your appearance does reflect this inner game.
It does. Yeah, what happens up here
Unfortunately.
happens everywhere else.
Yeah.
If you give up on your dreams, that may free up some time to actually get some stuff done, which is about right. Yes. Far too many times we think about our dreams. Like, stop dreaming, Leanne. For God's sake, do the washing.
I love this because I saw everyone is going on about these morning routines, and they're going, right, I start my day and I journal, I run, and it's like this 3-hour morning routine. And I've read someone else saying, I just get up and work. And like, this is how you're successful. Like, just get up and do the work. It literally is that simple.
It is.
Yeah.
You get up and do what you're supposed to do.
Do what you meant. Have your idea in mind and deliver.
You love these unmotivational
Yeah, dude, this is
ones.
my favorite.
It's crazy how people will question all the good things that they hear about someone, but believe all the bad things without a second thought. So true.
True.
I look at some of the things and I go, oh, well, you're not very good at podcasting.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not very good at whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pull out the negative bits. And do you know why that is? Do you know why people like to focus on your negativity?
Are you asking me that, or you got the answer?
Maybe it's a question that I've got for you. Why do people focus more on the...
For safety, it's our evolutionary to protect ourselves and to be safe. And in order to do that, I mean, evolutionary times was we have to be included as part of the pack.
Yeah.
Right. So, but to be a business, to be a standout, you have to stand out. You have to do things differently. And when you do that, then you are up against people that will try to take you down.
Do you notice that people actually, the ones that are very successful, don't care about what other people say?
Absolutely not.
They don't
They don't care about people stealing their idea. Like, they just move forward. Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just move forward. Let's have a look at the next one. We've got 3 to go. Oh, if hula hoop was... if
Hashtag truth.
Yeah, was a hula hoop. So true. Wow, it's been a bit painful. You only get one body and you've already ruined it.
Well, actually, one of the things I journaled was I actually want to... So I'm 39 this year, next year 40. And at 40, I want to be the fittest I've ever been. That's
Great.
That's what I want to do.
Great goal. Yeah, great goal. But define fit. Like,
Well, I
is
want to
that
do Kokoda next year. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
that's
So
a
eating
great-
healthy.
yeah.
I've got this weird thing where I don't mind exercising, but because that allows me to eat and drink whatever I want. And now I realise at 39, you cannot live your life that way.
Yeah, you can. See, again, you've just now focused on something that was quite negative. You can't keep going and doing like that. My father's 91.
Yeah.
Okay, my father's 91. He was a great runner when he was younger. Both his knees are shot, and that's inhibiting him to be able to go for a run now. I don't know why he would want to at the age of 91. But he kind of like doesn't stop. You know, he has his whiskey every morning. And, hey, if that's the secret to his longevity...
Well, I'll be back here tomorrow drinking whiskey with you. What a legend.
Being popular on Facebook is like sitting at the cool table in the cafeteria of a mental hospital.
Yes.
Why, this is a question I have for you, why do we look for the elusive likes? Why do we want the likes?
Because we need validation of other people because we don't have high self-worth.
Oh, so I need to look at, right, I post something and I got 7 likes. It's like, oh, that's really good. And so that makes me feel that I am worth something now.
Yes.
That all my hard work's been validated.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I definitely believe that. Only because I know it's what I think.
Yeah. Do you know YouTube took away the dislike button? Well, no, they took away
the
not
thumbs down one, or-
Yeah, they've still got the thumbs down. So don't forget the thumbs down because you won't get to see it.
By the way, I'm going to read all the chat comments after this.
Yeah,
so,
you have to. Yeah, you have to go in
Yeah.
there. One of the things that they did was because it was hurting people's feelings. That will show you how many likes you have, but when it comes to the down likes, you can still click onto it, but you can't see it. So it actually hides the downvote button, or hides the number of likes.
This is interesting. Have we become a society where we can't take that?
Bunch of snowflakes.
Yeah, I
think so.
honestly think we have.
Why are we so soft?
We're so soft. When you think of when I think of my parents and grandparents, what they had to go through, and I am worried about so and so said this about. I don't even know this person, and they're critiquing what I said. Like, come on. Yeah, I don't think I think that this is the danger.
Harden up, Buttercup. I'm cruel, aren't I? Harden up, Buttercup. No one will watch this now. They're all going to know.
I mean, this is like mental health, like
Yeah.
like all of that. It's like so sad that this is what we've become.
Yeah, it's a big part of it though, isn't it? It's a big part of that. Here's what I'm noticing a lot on Facebook or Fakebook or whatever you want to call it, is that people put up their problems. They've got a lot of these problems and issues that they've had, whether it was domestic violence or whether they've been hurt or done by the government or whether somebody's taken something away. And they like to put that up there so they can get validation that misery loves company.
Yeah, Exactly.
Agreed.
Actually, a book. Can I just recommend a really
go for it.
profound
Yeah.
book? The Courage to be Disliked.
Wow. Who by?
Japanese authors. I can't remember their names.
People, that's your job. Can somebody just do a quick Google search on
The Courage to be Disliked.
The Courage to be Disliked, and
Yeah.
we'll bring that up and we can show that here. It's really amazing how the mind works, how people, will get into a trap and then stay in that trap and go, wow, because people are loving the victimhood that I've had in the past, I might just continue on that story of victimhood, and then
That's exactly what he talks about.
Does he?
In the book?
victimhood behaviour.
There's a reason that you're latching onto it.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Brene Brown?
Yeah, I love her work.
Yeah,
I think she's very
yeah.
accessible and cool. She's
Yeah.
not top 5. I wouldn't put her in my top 5 people that I follow, but I think she's starting very important conversations. People are resonating with it. Yeah. What about you?
Look, I've heard some of her stuff. I looked at her stuff on the TED Talks that
Yeah.
she does. I think very, insightful.
Yeah.
It's not someone that I would go, wow, that's amazing. I've now been inspired.
Yeah, I'm the same as you with that. People
Interesting.
love her, but I'm like, I don't really think it's provocative, or I mean, it's kind of common sense.
Like, do you what is common sense? There's that old cliche, isn't it? It's common sense is not common anymore. But it's interesting about when you start talking about the motivational pictures and posters. I put one up yesterday that said, if a motivational poster actually gets you to get up and go, your job must be really easy. Like, you must have a really easy job, because there's nothing in your challenges. So when I see something that says, fulfill your dreams and start the journey off with one step, I actually don't know what that means.
No, it's just blah blah.
I wasn't. Yeah, it is blah. It's noise.
Yeah.
I read and I saw The Secret. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The Secret.
Yeah.
And when I was reading through it, I thought to myself, who really believes this stuff? And there are a lot of people that just go, wow, if I can think about the things that I want to build this studio here. I want this. If I think hard enough about it, I'll get it. And it's not about that.
No, it's missing a step. I totally believe in having that vision and being specific. I think that's important, but you've got to do. It comes back to doing the work and being consistent. And motivation, I think, motivation is easy when you're in the moment and you have that inspiration, but it's the consistency and the discipline.
Yeah.
What is it? Jocko Willink, he says, discipline sets you free. I love that. Discipline
sets you free. God, we can talk all day. I just need to be able to see if anyone's put up hang on, Holly says this. The dislike button was removed because of the White House page getting
I had no
ratioed every video. I think you're quite right there. Quite right. The courage, here we go. The courage to be disliked, the Japanese phenomenon that shows you how you to change your life and achieve real happiness.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
It is a book. You got to be prepared. You got to prepare yourself in some way, because he says things like trauma isn't real. Like, he's very yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just providing a disclaimer.
Trauma isn't real.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to have another conversation with you. You know why? Because we've run out of time.
This has gone so quickly. It's got 5 minutes.
It does. Would you come back?
I'd love to.
And if you want Leanne to come back, just go. Yeah, we would love her back, and that's as easy as it gets. Oh my God, I can't believe that the time went really quickly. And now, because I want to talk about, and here's what I think we should do. Here's a call to action. How does that sound?
Very professional. Yes.
Very professional. Here's a call to action. I want everyone. Let's pick a book. And maybe we could jump online, and maybe that should be the book.
I think that should be the book.
Let's bring up that book.
Yeah.
The Courage to be Disliked. I think we should maybe pick that book, and we could do a book review.
Yeah.
And we could maybe talk about that, and I can go on the opposite side to what you're thinking, and we can have a great debate.
Devil's advocate, yeah.
Be the devil's advocate.
Yeah, which is easy to do with that book.
Oh, is it?
It's easy to play your role, yeah.
Great.
It's easy for me to get it justify what he says, but that's why it's so good. It just gets you thinking.
People, here's what we're going to do. See if you can in the next, let's get you back in about 6 weeks' time. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Get you back in about 6 weeks. The Courage to be Disliked. Let's have a look at that book. Leanne, I hate it that we have to finish off, but we do. I have got a shutdown video, which I always put your headphones on, and then everyone here will just give a cheers, Rudy. And can you please thank my great guest here, Leanne Hughes, who's not a family member of Dave Hughes, Howard Hughes, or even Merv Hughes. But can you think of any other Hughes?
No.
No, there's no more Hugheses.
Yeah.
The Hughesies. All the Hughesies are out. Thanks, everyone.
You.
If you wouldn't mind just giving the big cheers, and thank Leanne for being the great guest today, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, Holly. Yes, let's get her back. Leanne, Jews. No. Say anything you want if you want to respond to them.
Thanks, Michelle. Cheers, Rudy.
It's actually been a great bunch of people here today. I love it when I do these interviews. And please, if I'm not on at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time every single day, I am not on. Thank you, Leanne, for coming on here today. I really am going to get you back. Somebody did put a message up. How many people have I got on the comeback list? Brian Holden, one of your best guests, methinks. Brian, you deserve the last comment. Well done, mate. And we'll all see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.